I'm laughing because Beyonce and Jay-Z put out an album. And I just cannot deal. I just cannot deal. I cannot believe this happened. I'm so happy. Now I don't have to pay attention to any of these woman-beating, Trump-loving rappers. I don't even have to think about them. I don't even have to. I mean, I wasn't listening to their music to begin with, but like now I don't even have to meditate or reflect on them. This feels like a release. Good morning. Ooh, I have an eye boogie. It's Saturday. Kind of feels like any other day. Today, I think I'm gonna get my eyebrows done. I think it's time. Okay, so I decided to follow my own advice, and now, I gotta really learn how to do this. I'm headed to go get my eyebrows done. So I have really thick eyebrows, as you can see, but actually as of recently, I feel like they've kept their thickness, but I feel like they're not as thick in the actual eyebrow. I don't really know what I'm saying. Anyways, I've been really hesitant to get my eyebrows done now that I've been in Columbus, which is where my mom's side, her family is from, just because I've just been nervous to get them done by anyone out here, and I have someone who I go to in New York. I have a place that I go in LA. In LA, I go to Aruna's Threading Salon. Look her up. She's amazing. And my mom doesn't know I'm vlogging. I've told no one that I've started vlogging. And in New York, I go to Shobha in Soho. They have a few locations. But yeah, I am going to get them done. I'll show you guys the effect. You can come in the car. I'm vlogging. Do you wanna say hi, or do you not want to be shown on the camera? That's my beautiful mommy.
Hi.
Mommy, you put on Glossier today.
Yes, I did, and I like it. I'm gonna have to order some for myself.
Yes. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today before I get into my podcast was why I decided I wanted to vlog. It was something I've definitely, something that pushes me out of my comfort zone for sure. Oh, I'm sweaty. Also, this is primer. I always mix it, and then so that's why it's there. It's something that for sure intimidates me and I'm uncomfortable to do, and the reason why I decided to go for it, honestly, was because I was inspired by everyone who I was seeing on YouTube. Everyone, like, and when I mean everyone, I mean everyone. The good, the bad, the ugly, the excellent, from the beauty bloggers to the scam accounts, to the rumor accounts, to the drama accounts, the gossip accounts, to people who travel, and they teach people other languages, to people who are paraplegics and they are talking about their journey. I really was just inspired by everything I was seeing on YouTube. And as someone, but I think one of the things that was holding me back is, as someone who works in media, I went to school for broadcast journalism. I know about all of the elements and aspects of media with social platforms. I think that I was really just kind of like hesitant and faded, and also like phased by doing it. But I just kind of decided to go for it. I've always known that I wanted to put my podcast on YouTube. It's a powerful search engine, but because these are older episodes, I wanted to also like vlog at the beginning of them to show my face and for it to be actual video and just to experiment. I don't know, I just think it's a new space for me. I haven't really told anyone I'm doing it yet, just because I want to kind of like experiment with the YouTube to other platform funnel. Oh, I gotta put on my seatbelt. And something that I also really believe in as someone who is a social media editor is that it's just really important to keep your ears to the streets. And I think that instead of me being really kind of like concerned with what people will think, what my peers will think, what my colleagues will think, or people who I've worked with and who I know, I would rather to me, this is the best way to learn, and this is the best way to share with others. And so I would rather just do that than like to be scared and afraid, even though I am notorious for like starting new ideas and starting new projects all the time. That's another vlog for another story. Anyways, let's get into this episode. This is the second episode of my podcast. It is with Morgan Debaun. Morgan is the founder of Blavity, which is a news platform site for Black millennials. So we had to have recorded this episode 2.5, if not a solid 3 years ago. It's actually funny because I'm in Columbus now, and when I first recorded this episode with her, I was also in Ohio, so kind of feeling very full circle. And I was really intrigued with Blavity at the time. I just felt like they were really producing content that was really committed to serving young Black millennials versus it being a vertical on another platform. And they also weren't a Black legacy. They weren't a Black legacy like news publication either, and I thought that was really cool too. And so listening back to this, it's so interesting how my interview style has changed too, and also gotten better. Like, I feel like now when I listen to this, I would have interviewed Morgan, I think a little bit more thoughtfully, and maybe a little bit more, not that I don't think I was thoughtful. I think that I just could have been more thoughtful, or I think I could have asked better questions. And so, also now, if I were to interview her again, I know that our conversation would be so different, because now if you look at Blavity, it's not just Blavity. They have conferences. They have, they've acquired Travel Noir. They also have a platform that is geared towards Black women in beauty and health and wellness. And so enjoy. I think that if you are familiar with Blavity or you're not, I think this is just a really good conversation, because you get to kind of like see what at the time were like the beginning stages, or kind of like the takeoff stages, I think, for what Blavity is today. And so enjoy. And but before I go, I'll make sure that I vlog after I get my eyebrows done. Okay, talk to you soon. Okay, I just got my eyebrows done. I don't think you guys can see them yet. I was so nervous. Mommy, I was so nervous.
Why?
They look okay though. I was nervous because I just felt like she didn't really know what she was doing while she was doing my eyebrows, and the thread broke twice. And I know that I have thick eyebrows, but like, if your thread is breaking, I'm like, oh my God, do you really know what you're doing? And basically I judged her. I guess I judged her because I was like young. She was young like me, and I was like, do you really know how to do this? How long have you been doing this? I felt that vibe. And I was gonna get my mustache done too, but I was so frustrated in the chair that I didn't get my mustache done, and I was just like, I can't. But she actually did a really good job. So I went to Exquisite Threading on Easton and Columbus. Wait, what?
Quit furrowing your brows. You're gonna need Botox.
I'm gonna need Botox, everyone. I'm gonna need Botox. Anyways, they ended up doing a really good job. I'm a brand new girl.
You look good.
All right, now let's get into this episode. I'll see you guys tomorrow. 10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5.
Hey everyone, this is Darian Simone Harvin coming to you with a second episode of Am I Allowed to Like Anything? I had to take a break because I was out of town and didn't really have I don't actually have any real excuse, but I'm back now. You can expect something far more consistent. On this week's episode, I have Morgan Debaun, who is the founder of Blavity. And if you haven't checked out Blavity yet, or you don't know what Blavity is, it's a content site for Black millennials. So we spoke about Blavity, and we spoke about what it's like to live in San Francisco, about how much we love being in our 20s. And we also just spoke a lot about all of the techie cool stuff that we love and we use. So enjoy, and definitely let me know what you think in the comments. So tell me, how was New York?
New York was so much fun. The party was great. It was like a lot of people, so that was crazy.
I saw the photos and I was like, that is a lot of people. I was like, whoa.
It was a lot of it. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, but doesn't that feel so good though?
It does. It does.
I've been like following Blavity for a while, and I want to know, where were you when you were like, this is something I want to do? And kind of where were you at in your life?
Oh, man. I've been wanting to do my own company for a very long time. It's always been a part of, like, my DNA. So when I was little, I was the girl that was selling Kool-Aid, mixing it with sugar, and selling it for 25 cents like it was funded to my friends. So, I've been hustling. I've upgraded since then to bigger and better things, still targeting my friends. But, so I think for Blavity specifically, this itch happened. I went to college at a primarily white institution at PWI. I went to Washington University in St. Louis.
Same as me. I went to like a predominantly white school.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much like the average Black college experience at this point is going to a PWI.
Right.
And
unless you go to a historically Black school.
Right, exactly. Which is like totally another world, which I, kind of regret not doing. But I loved my college experience at Washington University, and part of the reason why was because our Black community was like so strong. Yeah. So although we were only 100 people out of 1,500 in a class, it felt like, these were your brothers and your sisters and your cousins. And so there was this moment every day during lunch where we would all like come to the cafeteria, and it was a big cafeteria. We had like, I don't know, maybe 50 tables, and there was one table that was round. All the other tables were rectangles, and it would be like one person would sit down, and then 3 Black people would sit down, and then 6 Black people sit down. And the table only fits like 8 people, and all of a sudden you've got 15, 16 people, stealing chairs, talking different classes. You're talking about critical race theory, essays that you read last night, and then you're talking about what the Alphas did at the Step Show, right? You're totally code switching within our own culture, different classes. You've got freshmen next to seniors, first generation, second generation, and that experience for me every day was kind of like a home base, right? As a minority, I would sit in class and be the only person in class, right? Or even in some of my student groups. Right. And now, in this moment in my day, the core of my day during a meal, I'm sitting with my friends and my family and being pushed and have that sense of comfort. And Blavity is really a manifestation of that online, right? We've taken that thought of, hey, like, let's create an experience where you're always welcome to kind of dip in, and you know exactly where you fit in, and you're going to be put. You may not agree with everything that everybody's saying. Like, you may not agree with everything that's on Blavity or the writers on Blavity, but you can appreciate their perspective and learn from them. And we're going to be conversational. We're going to talk about different topics. But at the end of the day, Blavity is kind of like a home. It's an internet home and platform and community for people of color who aren't represented in mainstream media.
Right. And even when you kind of describe that experience of being in a huge cafeteria and kind of having discussion and I feel like nucleus of a table, like around a table, almost like this gravity point of like that kind of being a thing. So how did you come up with the name Blavity?
Blavity is literally the term we would use. It stands for gravity. So it's like, oh my God, Blavity is happening right now. Where did you guys come from? It's like a bat signal. It's like, Black people, come to the lunch table, skip class.
Yes. Oh my God, skip class. Always skip class. No, don't skip class, but skip class.
Skip class for good conversation.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think I just feel like also the name Blavity sticks. Like it really, really sticks. And
Yeah, it does.
so what are your like hopes for the platform? Like what is your ultimate goal and how do you want to expand it? I want to know what your master plan is.
Yeah, I'm really transparent. I want world takeover. No, I'm just kidding. I want Blavity to be a community for online and offline experiences for people of color. That today looks like a content site where we post 5 great pieces of content every day, written by your peers about current topics in today's society, things that we're already talking about, or aren't talking about but probably should. And tomorrow they may look like in-person experiences, right? So how do we look at events and offline experiences like going to festivals? How do we put a Blavity spin on that where we're bringing people together that may be attending that festival like South by Southwest, right? Or Art Basel. How do we make sure that we can connect creatives and entrepreneurs, people that want to meet people from all over the country that have flown in to gather?
Right.
How do we have Blavity lens on those experiences? It may look like apps. It may look like mobile apps in the future, right? Where you've got your Blavity app and you can see what's popping on Twitter, what the conversation's like, what are your friends talking about, what are your friends sharing. The world is big when you're thinking about this population of people, when you're talking about young, black, and brown people between the ages of 18 and 34.
What? Have you had to make any hard decisions yet?
Absolutely. It's so many hard decisions. When I first started Blavity, the biggest decision was, is it going to be black or not? Like, the first
as opposed to what? As opposed to like just flat out millennial? As opposed to what?
Just a site for millennials.
Okay.
Were we going to be explicit, or were we just going to imply it, via marketing and content and all that stuff? Because the argument against being explicitly black and brown is that you're limiting your market up front, right? Like you're telling people that it's not for them. And my response is that I'm not doing that. I'm telling people that it is for them, right? I'm telling people that it's for, letting them know that like this experience was created for you.
Yeah.
And over time, that's going to evolve, and we may incorporate other ethnicities. But that was definitely one of the first big decisions. That was just like putting a pole on the ground and sand.
Yeah.
And like that's what it is.
Right.
So, I'm not going to tiptoe around it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's always a better stance to take as opposed to being about everything that you do.
Right. I agree. I think starting an idea and being really, really specific about who you're targeting, even if you have in mind that you're going to go for a bigger audience on the line, it helps you be really clear about your messaging and clear about the product that you're building or the service that you're building. And one of the things that I think differentiates Blavity from other sites is like our voice and our tone. You can go on our Twitter and feel like, oh, like there's a human behind this. It's not like a robot,
Right.
And I think that makes a difference in terms of stickiness.
How did you build your team? And what was important to you when you were building it?
Yeah, our founding team we all went to college together.
Okay.
So
which makes sense.
That's like the block, right? Like they get it, the word Blavity, they're like, duh, like I know what this means, right? The rest of the world is like, what are you saying? And we're like, Blavity, of course, So having a group of people around me that were really, really smart and smarter than me, that I trusted and had a really hard work ethic. So we find most of our teammates through people reaching out to us. I might say like, hey, we're looking for someone who's really into Black Twitter, and then get a bunch of applications and see, if anyone's a good culture fit for us. But for the most part, it's through referrals and internal, inbound people hitting us up. And the reason why I prefer those folks to join our team is because it shows that they're proactive, and Blavity is constantly changing. We started off as a video site, like a weekly email with videos in it.
What?
So, yeah, like this time last year, that's what we were doing.
Wow, what an evolution!
Yeah.
Seriously, I did not know that. I did not know that.
I wanted it to be like the anti-world star, but nobody else did that but me. So.
Oh my God, I want that. I want that.
Well, the clicks told me otherwise.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And when did you, so tell me this, whatever your former day job, like you work on Blavity, that is your job, 9 to 5, 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Okay. And when did you say to yourself, because I just recently did this, I was like, I don't feel like playing by anybody else's rules. Fuck the system. Like very, like I'm just going through in general, I feel a very kind of rebellious stage that I honestly don't really regret. But when were you like, this is when I'm gonna jump off this cliff, because if I don't, I will either 1, be miserable, or 2, never know what it would lead to?
Yeah, like it's definitely an evolution. I started my career at Intuit as a product manager. I moved from St. Louis to Silicon Valley to be a product manager, and I loved it. Like I enjoyed the work. I enjoyed learning. I was learning a ton. I didn't come from the tech world. You know, I was a poli-sci major, and I got thrown into managing an iPhone app, and I was like, what is this? And so I learned a lot. And then after 2.5 years, I stopped learning as fast as I thought that I should be. Right.
Wow.
And I didn't see a clear pathway for me to continue to learn at a really fast pace and to make a huge impact. So that was the first thing for me. I feel like as people in our 20s, you know, it's really important to constantly be pushing yourselves and be outside of your comfort zone. Like you should just constantly not know what you're doing.
I 100% agree.
Learn the most.
Right. And I think that when you get to a point where you're no longer being challenged, or if you're in a position where you feel like you're not being challenged, you should be looking for your next move or looking for what you want to do next, whether it's within the company or outside of it. There's so many opportunities and so much access to information that it's like, you can do that. Like I don't feel like we live in this day and age where I have to feel like super obligated to stay in one place if I don't feel like I'm serving the position or the company, or if it's not serving me. And I feel like to some extent we owe that to ourselves.
And I think, you know, now don't get me wrong, having a paycheck is a privilege, right? Having a paycheck that's
absolutely
like every other week, you get this money in your bank, like you
right.
show up, you get the money, right? And I don't want to, you know, discredit that, but I think there's alternatives, right? Like you can have your 9 to 5, but then you should have your 6 to 10, right?
Right.
I worked on Blavity for 4 months. While I worked at Intuit, I woke up at 6, I worked for 3 hours, I went to work, I took lunch meetings, I came home, and I worked for another 4 hours.
Right.
I did that for a long time. And it was horrible.
Right.
But, you know, it also gave me a reduced risk, because when I quit, I knew where we were going. We had a little bit more, you know, of a form of what Blavity was and where it was literally the next steps that we needed to do. It wasn't perfect by any means. Like I'm still taking a huge leap of faith when I quit last October. But at the end of the day, I did put in that kind of level of boundaries where it's like, let me work on this as hard as possible while I still have my day job. And then when it becomes so overwhelming to do 2 things at once, then I will quit.
Right. And I'm really glad that you brought up the point about paychecks being a privilege, because it truly, truly is. Like one thing that I was really thinking about when I was just like, I'm ready to be freelance, do my own thing. I went in knowing that my ability to do this was not something that everybody has the opportunity to do, especially when you're living in New York. You have bills to pay, you have rent to pay, and I'm sure and I know it's the same way for you as well. And it's like, to be able to have some type of foundation or support where you're able to do that, not everybody comes across that. So I almost feel like it's like my duty to, if I have the chance to do it, to go for it.
I agree 100%.
Right.
And that's how I feel about Blavity even now. Like, Blavity has been extremely successful, and at times I'm like, this is such a privilege to have a successful media company
Mm-hmm.
in the first year. Like, what, you know, we need to capitalize on this. We need to do this. We need to support these people. We need to support these writers, these creators, you know, this entire ecosystem that has been built in the last 12 months. It's constantly very humbling to even have it.
Yeah. I really want to talk about San Francisco because number one, I'm super into cities right now. One of the things actually that we cover a lot in hardcover, and I cannot wait for hardcover to come out. It's going to be amazing. But yes, I love learning about the movement of cities right now, because you know it used to be a lot of focus on the New Yorks and the LAs and even the Torontos of the world, but I feel like what I want people to know is that they're like, as kind of there's been this urbanization of so many smaller cities, there are so many cool things going on in places that aren't New York and aren't LA and aren't San Francisco, but at the same time, it's so amazing to really hear about people's personal experiences living in San Francisco. So with that, like, whole spiel, like, what's it been like living in San Francisco for you, and do you like it?
Yeah, I really enjoy San Francisco's environment, like the creativity, the fact that everybody's always doing something. Like, you know, one of my friends started a game development company, and he makes like $60,000 per contract every other month, and it's just like he just started it, and I'm just constantly inspired by the level of innovation where it pushes you, right? It pushes you forward, and that's really interesting to me, you know? And I think coming from St. Louis, where in a lot of ways my ambitions were almost too big for the city that I was in, being here, you feel normal when you say things like, yeah, like by 2020, like I want to have 500 million users. They'd be like, okay, cool. Like, you know,
right.
It's not a big deal to say something like that.
Yeah.
Even though that's like great. So that's what I love. I love that it is normal to be extraordinary and that everybody pushes you, and it's just kind of an assumption that you're doing cool things, and they want to learn and they want to help, and you know, email intros and network and everything is just very natural, and everyone's humble about what they're doing. You could be talking to somebody and you're like, oh, like you're the, you know, founder of Instacart or whatever app is cool this week, you know, and it's like, yeah, but they're also just sitting here in Dolores Park with you having a beer.
Right.
You know, so it's just totally normal. As it relates to diversity, I think that's definitely a challenge that the city has. I think it's like less than 5% of the city is Black. That being said, the Oakland community is right across the bridge. It's like 5 minutes away. And that is thriving. There's a lot of young professionals moving to Oakland. Local people who have been there forever are embracing, you know, there's some tension as things transition, but are definitely embracing letting people like me who are transplants in, part of the culture, the food, all of that. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Did you go to San Francisco knowing people, or did you kind of come in making new friends?
I came into San Francisco knowing no one except for my brother who lives in Palo Alto. And it's really easy to make friends because nobody's from here.
Wow, yeah.
It's like built for friends. I literally think it's a giant playground. Like I could go outside and it's the middle of the day. It's like 2 o'clock right now. And there would be so many people just hanging out in the park, grabbing a beer, whatever. And everyone's friendly. So, yeah, it's easy to make friends.
That's awesome. Okay, so as you know, the premise of this whole podcast is like talking about things that we like. So obviously Blavity is something that we both like. San Francisco is something that I now like, that you like. And I want to talk about being in our 20s because I feel like this is such a time where it's either like we're millennials, which is such an, you know, people loathe, and sometimes I do even too, that it's such an overused term. I was like joking on Twitter and I was like, I'm just gonna start calling myself a 90s baby, you know, just like so original. I'm just like I'm just so original, right? And so, but I want to talk about actually like living in this time and kind of being like, I'm 24. How old are you?
25.
So when's your birthday?
February 6th.
February 6th?
I accept all gifts on my birthday.
I accept all gifts. My birthday is December 7th. Okay, now it's out there. So maybe we might get I hope you get gifts till we work now.
Yes.
But how has it been being 25, or just kind of being like from 20 to 25 now?
Yeah, it's such a weird transition. Like, obviously, none of us have ever been through it before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you can't be the same age twice. But it's cool because you can mold yourself. You can say, oh, I don't like the way that, like, this behavior or this pattern or this habit that I didn't even know that I had is, like, developing. And here's how I'm going to self-correct it. I'm going to become a vegan. I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to travel, right? I'm going to start an Instagram account, whatever it is. And that's really cool. So when I'm from Missouri, you know, like, Missouri is not the most progressive part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I had great parents whom I love dearly, but I'm a Midwestern girl. And so the mindset and my frame of the world is different today than it was when I was 18 coming into Washington University. I mean, I still went to college in St. Louis, so even moving out here, I was like, oh, okay, I see y'all. Like,
yeah.
You know, there's a lot of stuff happening in San Francisco. There's a lot of parades, a lot of nudity. I've seen like 5 butts today. Like,
wait, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, not kidding.
Wait, what? I'm totally interested right now. What does this have to do with?
There's just a lot of nudity.
Okay.
People just feeling free, riding a bike naked. That happened twice. And then...
Oh my gosh.
And then there's a lot of homeless people.
Okay.
Have mental illnesses and sometimes expose themselves. So... you just go with it. It's like
you just go with it. I don't know why I'm acting so shook right now because I live in New York, but that actually I have not truly recognized that. Or I've not recognized that, but seen that.
When I first saw it, I was like, where's my Snapchat? Get the camera out.
Oh my gosh.
And now it doesn't even faze me. But so it's just stuff like that where it's like, why would one person decide to be nude riding a bike? Like, what is their thought process? Like, what is the statement? Just constantly challenging yourself and saying, like, where did I get these notions and these, like, things that live in my head and how I process information? Where did that come from? And then saying, like, okay, do I still agree with the process and my way of thinking?
Mm-hmm.
As I get older, I'm like, actually, no. And Blavity has taught me that a lot. A lot of our writers are extremely progressive, and they push me all the time. Like, are you sure we should be posting this? Like, why are we supporting that person? Why are we putting this person on that list? And I think that's what we should be doing in our 20s, is, like, learning and pushing and figuring out, like, no, this is a conscious decision to have this point of view on these issues or on these things.
Yeah. And I would say, even from my perspective, you're so right about the rapid growth of change, because anybody could have told me, and people do tell me, you changed so much in your 20s. But even, like, looking back a year from now, where I was and what I was doing and what I was thinking about and what my moral compass has changed. And I feel like I'm just living my best life right now. Like, seriously.
Totally.
And, you know, because people are kind of like, you know, when you get to your 30s, that's when you're, like, really popping. But I feel popping now.
We're winning.
I'm 100%. And
I think all millennials think that they're winning in the moment in which they are.
Oh, my God.
Part of their generation is like, we're the greatest right now.
No. It's also that, too. And it's also just being like, I deserve everything. But I do feel that way, actually, because if I have this thing about, like, if I don't feel that way about myself, I mean, I don't actually believe anyone's going to feel that way about me unless I feel that way about me first.
Yes.
So.
It's a blessing and a curse of the world that we live in. But I think for, you know, those listening in and for both of us, like, being positive, being present, and, like, being mindful about how you're processing things and why you think things is, like, only going to make you a stronger and better person. Right.
Absolutely. In not making excuses for yourself, even when you do almost deserve to. Like, that's one thing I've even just learned as a Black woman. It's like, even when I was faced with, like, things that really I shouldn't have had to really even deal with as a human, it wasn't almost like I disregarded them, but it was like, if I don't take a stand for myself, or if I use these as excuses for why I can't be excellent, even though they are pushing me back, I'm not actually going to get to where I want to get to. It's almost like giving yourself this stamp of, well, this is how it is, but this is how you have to work past it.
I agree. That's how I mean, I am a Black woman CEO, founder of a tech startup, and I'm not technical, and I didn't go to Stanford, you know?
Right. And here you are.
You know? So what?
And you're here.
I'm here. We're here. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing okay. So, you just got to take it step by step. And, like, yes, you can acknowledge, like, there are disadvantages to different situations, but there's also a lot of advantages to it. You know, I can walk into a meeting and someone's going to remember me. I got big hair, right? Like, there are also advantages to every situation.
Absolutely. And you have to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I like to call this segment of the podcast Plus One, because this is a great time where you can give a shout out to something that you love. Maybe it's something that you use throughout the week, an app. Do you have something in mind?
Yeah, let me think. My first thing comes to Instagram, because I'm really into Instagram right now.
Are you?
Like,
why are you into Instagram right now?
because I just feel like Instagram is everything. Like, Instagram is curated. It shows you your creativity. It shows you your friends' creativity. Like, I have some one of my friends completely color codes all of her pictures, and I'm just like, you're amazing. How do you have that level of patience, you know?
Yeah.
One Instagram that I'm really into is Black Girl in Ohm.
Yes.
They are out of Chicago and focus on women of color mindfulness and healing and health and yoga. And their images are just like bomb. Just thebomb.com. So I would check them out, and I like reading they have a magazine as well online, so I read their content.
You know, actually, speaking of Black Girl in Ohm, because I follow them on Instagram as well, and I love working out. I'm a huge ClassPass user. I love ClassPass.
Are you?
Yes, I love ClassPass. It's basically my membership, because you get to go to these gyms, these fitness boutiques in the city that I really wouldn't get a chance to go to, because either, number one, they're too expensive. They're like $33. Yeah, like, I don't have money like that, but you give me a condensed place where I can sign up for whatever class I want to, and I'm there. But I've been getting more into yoga, even Bikram yoga, which is...
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't breathe.
No, literally. I know. I don't know. I'm weird in the way that I love intense workouts, and I love challenges. So I'll go to Bikram yoga or just regular yoga, and I think even just kind of starting in that is really helpful for your mind and in stress too. So shout out to Black Girl in Ohm, or Black Girls in Ohm. Yes. Shout out.
What else do you love?
You know what I love right now? And I'm actually obsessed with it, that I almost feel like they have... I feel like I'm in my own personal cult, because I don't know if anybody else loves it as much as me, or at least I don't talk about it with other people. I'm obsessed with Beats One Radio on Apple Music.
Like, I don't even know. I'm not even sure.
Okay, let me. They honestly need to pay me. They're gonna pay me one day. They're gonna put me on Beats one day. I have no radio music credentials, but they're gonna put me on one day. Beats. Oh, so you're familiar with Apple Music. You know, Apple Music is now the new streaming after your 3-month trial. It's $10 a month.
Right.
And Beats One Radio is essentially a radio station within Apple Music that you have once you subscribe to Apple Music. And each hour, somebody new plays a set. And the people...
DJs?
Yes. But listen, so it could be anywhere from Elton John to Ebro, who's on Hot 97. OVO has an hour. I think it's on Sundays. OVO or Drake and his team. It could be anywhere from... You need a Blavity Beats 1 hour. No, seriously, that can happen. I'm 100%. I believe that can happen. But I think what I love about it is this is a 24-hour radio station, right? In a time where people don't listen to radio the way that they used to, and it's broadcasted at different. it's not just in New York. Some people are out of London, some people are in LA, some people are in New York, and it's almost just like the idea to me of people listening to Beats One all around the world and we're all listening to the same music is awesome in itself. I love that.
So powerful.
I think that's really powerful. And I even think now during, in this time and day where I love radio. Even, I just always remember, and I've kind of gotten away with it because I don't sit in a car any longer. You remember just sitting in the car with your mom and like listening to your local radio station?
Yeah.
You don't really do that anymore, but I feel like Beats One is almost a different version of that, but almost kind of bringing that community and togetherness back into radio. So I love it for that reason.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, I'm really into podcasts right now.
Yes.
So I've been listening to a lot of business podcasts. Like the one I listened to this morning, I think was like Passive Income or something like that. But I think this concept of like going backwards, like SoundCloud, I listen to Selection is really cool. If no one has listened to Selection, you absolutely need to look it up on SoundCloud. It's everything. So yeah, music and online / connected sounds is pretty dope.
Yes. And speaking of SoundCloud, I also love SoundCloud just because I love any place where people can just put their work, like put out what they're doing. Because to me, it's just when you do something and you're courageous enough to put it out there, that's like a gold star for me. It's almost like putting out what you've done for other people to enjoy or critique or do whatever. World stars put their music on SoundCloud,
I know. I was like, okay, Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah. The deal? SoundCloud is like, SoundCloud's not even in America. They're in like, they're in Europe.
I believe, yes, they are. I forget. I want to say they're in Berlin, but don't quote me.
Maybe it's Berlin.
I think so. Okay, let's talk about your Apple Watch. You need to tell me why you like your Apple Watch because so I went to the Apple store and I was waiting at the Genius Bar with my MacBook because I was like having a semi breakdown because I was like, I just bought this laptop and it's acting up. But while I was waiting for the Genius Bar, I got this amazing kind of run through with the Apple Watch and I was still like, I don't really need this. You need to defend your Apple Watch right now.
So for those that are listening, I'm flashing my Apple Watch at her every time we talk. I move my hand top of my head. But I have mixed feelings. So first of all, it dies, which is just like annoying because all Apple products die. You're just like, really? But for the most part, like, it's nice to be able to have something on your wrist so you're not constantly checking your phone. So, like, in meetings, in conversations, one of this, like, weird worry in the back of my head is, like, am I missing something important? Is somebody trying to reach me, call me, text me, email me, Slack me, whatever, and I'm not in tune with them, so I will check my phone, I'll sneak and check it if somebody goes to the bathroom or something like that. When it's on your watch, you instantly know if someone's trying to get in communication with you, and you can decide to look at it or not. But really, it's a peace of mind for me that I know, okay, I've gotten 3 text messages in the last, since we've been talking, I've only gotten 2 text messages. Okay, the world's not,
the world's not ending.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at it, and that's fine. I love the pedometer. I had a Fitbit before, but this is just more, it's just different than a Fitbit.
You upgraded.
I upgraded a little bit, yeah.
Okay, I understand that now. I think that even just, like, the luxury of being able to... So you have Slack. I could go on for days about things that I like, honestly. Slack, number 1, love Slack. I just got hardcover on Slack specifically for our launch. So just because we want to get things done a lot quicker or just quicker in general than what we were kind of doing on Basecamp, where it was just email notifications. So I'm really glad that happened. And I love Slack. So you get Slack notifications on your Apple Watch.
Yes, I can't respond to them. I can only read them.
Okay. But still.
It's nice. And I only have them set up for DMs. So really, the only time someone's going to DM me is if they need something from me. Or else they just post it into the general channel. So for those who don't know what Slack is like a team communication tool, or even just a community. You know, I've seen people set it up as a community based, and you have different channels based off of the topic. So like we have a Black Twitter channel in our Blavity Slack where people post funny things that are happening in Black Twitter that day.
Wait, that's so great. That is crucial.
Our Slack is everything.
Like, right.
It's so much fun. So it can be a time sink because you're reading other things instead of writing anything.
Yeah. But, I could just talk about Black Twitter for like I just love even just taking one piece of Black Twitter, that piece being the creativity of it. I just love it. I love what people think of because I'm like I don't think like that, but I 100% appreciate what you just did. I 100% appreciate that GIF you just made.
Right, and I can participate. Like if somebody comes up with the formula, you know, where it's like growing up Black, then I'm like, oh yeah, I've got so many that I want to tweet out right now.
Right.
And I think it has to do with Blackness in general. I think Black people are creative, right?
Right.
We just think very creatively. We're crafty. We're scrappy. We will come up with something out of nothing, or even out of just a little. You just give us a little bit of opportunity.
Right. You just have to give us a little bit.
Right. We will make something. And Twitter is just a cool communication tool for that creativity, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, you know, why Black Twitter exists. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things happening on Twitter right now.
There are. There definitely are. Okay, so tell me what you have planned for the rest of your day.
The rest of my day, let's see. I'm late for a meeting.
Oh my God.
And he's already emailed me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. But I'm talking to Brian Williams, the CEO of PurchaseBlack.com. It just launched.
Oh.
I need to check it out.
Yeah.
Just gave you a shout out, Brian. I'm sorry I'm late. And then I have a meeting with our lawyer, or Blavity lawyer.
Very fancy, if you ask me. I mean,
we're talking about, you know,
law
and equity and things like that. So I'm sitting in WeWork right now in San Francisco. I'll probably head back to my apartment and work out at some point because, yeah. So
Yay.
A couple meetings, happy hour, working out.
Yay. That sounds like the ideal 20s life. Nailed it. You nailed it. Okay. Thank you so much, Morgan. This has been so great.
Thank you for having me. This is so much fun. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I want to do a bunch of episodes and put a lot of content out there and then start to do it weekly. So that's kind of my strategy right now.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm a backlog hoarder. If you saw the Blavity backlog, you're like, why didn't you post that? Because
you
need to have content on file.
Yeah, so I'm actually thinking of just posting 3 all together to kind of give people a lot and then going weekly from there. But yes, I will let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, girl.
Bye.